just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe, girl, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should
Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, April 16th. We are back like we never left here on this beautiful Wednesday. We are recapping the LSU game that happened last night. A lot of sports conversations going around, a lot of it revolving around LSU baseball. People panic. That's nothing new. LSU baseball coming off of getting swept on the road. Tough midweek matchup against McNeese State last night. McNeese had before last night, or going into last night, they had the longest winning streak in the country at 12 games. LSU snapped that, played a really good game, 10-3. A lot of guys to talk about from that game. Sometimes you look at midweek games, you just want to get through it. Other times you look at midweek games and there's things that you can take away from it. There's a lot of things that you can take away. Maverick Grizzly looks like he's kind of finding his way. Best outing of the year for him, 2 1/3, 6 strikeouts, was completely dominant. Myers. Game changer.
Game changer.
Right? 2 straight outings with no walks. He's looked really good, back-to-back outings. And so, even William Schmidt looked really good. He had a couple hiccups, but he looked really good. He started the game. Offense got back on track. They scored some runs against a good team and put themselves in a position going into a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series at home against Alabama, who's scuffling. They've lost 2 straight series. Going to be a big home series, but it's always nice to get that midweek win going into a big weekend series. It's Wednesday. It's Ask Mikie and Mitch. It's also Wednesday, which means we have Jay Johnson on the show. We are always grateful for his time, and since we are respectful of his time, we don't want to keep him waiting. He is prompt, as always, in the chat, or not in the chat.
No, in
That'd
real
be
life.
crazy if he was in the chat.
We
He's
don't
in
know.
He's in the on deck circle. He's ready to go, and let's get right to him. Coach, welcome back to the show. We appreciate you joining us. I know y'all have had two long weeks on the road. Y'all are back home. It's got to feel good to get back home. Y'all had a obviously a bump in the road last weekend with getting swept at Auburn. It wasn't a terrible. You didn't play awful. It was just one of those baseball series where you didn't had some opportunities to drive some guys in. Didn't happen. All the games were pretty close, or the last two games were pretty close. Then you play McNeese, who's a really good team. They were playing really good baseball. Before we really get into the weekend a little bit, a recap of the weekend, talk about how important it was for the guys to get back on track, especially against a team. It's probably your toughest home midweek game that you've had so far this year, and y'all played really good baseball. Pitching staff looked good. Talk about last night. How important was it for the guys to kind of get back on track, kind of take a deep breath, and get ready for this weekend?
Yeah, I thought our players did a really good job with the game last night, and we typically don't practice on Mondays after a road series because it's late getting back travel. I thought it was important to get back out on the field, and I want them to move forward, so they have to have something to kind of move forward to. And so we had a good workout on Monday, a little bit different kind of practice, and then we actually worked out again before regular batting practice on Tuesday, and just kind of got reset. And I thought the guys approached the game really, really well. And as you said, we played well in the game, pitched well. A lot of young guys, obviously, which is great to see. But everybody, did their job from the mound last night. And offensively, we had a good night. And looking forward to a good weekend. Yes, it is very good to be back in this ballpark for sure.
Coach, a couple guys last night that I think, they have really shown last few times they've been out there. They've shown a lot of progress, and they've shown, obviously, the potential has been there. Maverick Rizzi had his best outing of the year, 2 1/3, 6 strikeouts. And Myers comes in there, 2 straight outings, no walks, 2 strikeouts, looked electric out there. How important are those two guys, their development for you in the bullpen moving forward down the back half of the SEC, and how much are you going to lean on those guys in the coming weeks?
Yeah, happy to talk about both those guys. I do think both of them are going to be major league pitchers someday, and both are developing very well right now. They've improved their command kind of every time out there. I thought both their fastballs are tough to hit, for different reasons, but they're putting them where they want to right now. Thought Maverick did a great job of landing the slider last night, and again, another good performance by Jacob. Hadn't really been close to being touched or any kind of adversity in the last couple outings, and very happy for him, and it's a really good sign for us.
Yep. Coach Jared's got a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, I want to ask kind of a little bit about you and kind of maybe some insight on you as far as for how you deal with and how you go through the ebbs and flows of the season. When you go through, or your teams go through, like the lows of the year, how do you deal with it in terms of, is there systems that you have in place now? And has those systems kind of been in place for a while, or are these things that kind of transformed and grown throughout your coaching career?
Wow. Get a little personal there, honestly. No, I mean, it's 47 years old or whatever into this thing, and it's still tough, man.
Yeah.
I do not do well with it, but you have to separate two things. It's like you can't have the success and the winning and feel good about it if you're not willing to throw yourself into the battle, and sometimes you're going to lose. And in SEC baseball, you're going to. I think Texas is the only team that has not lost a series in our league, and we're only halfway through this thing. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know. But more than anything, I preach to the players, or try to impart on the players, like, you have to master the ability to move on. Whether you're playing well or you lose and have some adversity. And so I have to model that. I mean, I can talk about it, but if I don't do that and, make everybody's life around here miserable, like it's not going to work. Like, it's just not how players are built today. I think kind of what I do is, like I said, the only way I know how to do it, and I told them this after the game of Sunday, is get back to work. And we're going to practice on Monday, and it's going to be a little bit different to kind of, I don't want to say shock the system, but like get us recalibrated, you know, re-engaged on what's made us a great team, you know, because I've coached a lot of great teams, and I don't know, man, that I've had one, even the national championship team in 23 that played as consistently close to their potential for as many games over almost 2 months than this team has. And like, you can't forget that, and you can't let them forget that. And so we talked about that, recalibrated on some of the issues that we needed to be better at, and then put together a little better plan and get recommitted to that plan. And then you just go attack. And it's not going to guarantee success. It's not. But, you know, a poor response to adversity is a real way of, you know, dropping yourself into failure. And that's not happening with me or our team. And I will say, you know, I did learn a lot from, you know, that really tough stretch last year where we played Arkansas and Tennessee both on the road, and they both were the #1 team in the country at the time that we played them. And, you know, kind of just staying with it, and how we were able to come out the other side by staying with what I'm talking about. I think that can be very valuable for this team and the players on this team. So, yeah, personally, misery. But yeah, I try to do my best to move forward, because that's what the players have to do, or it's not going to work for any of us.
Honestly, I love that you bring this stuff up, because I do think, and it's not that you care, and obviously you shouldn't care, because you have a job to do and you go about doing that job. But I do think it's pretty cool, because a lot of people, like, we get here, we ask a lot about the players, and everyone wants to know about the players, but then we see this, you don't see this, I hope you don't see this, we see this, how much everyone complains about what decisions are or are not being made. And it's like, hey, y'all do realize, like, this is his job. Like, he doesn't show up at the field at 6:30 for a 7 o'clock game and then leave at 11 when it's over. Like, this is what that man does. So, like, kind of put some faith behind decisions that are being made. Understand they're being made for reasons. He lives this. So it's kind of cool to hear your process about it.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's part of it here. And I tell the players this all the time. Like, this is a really cool place. And I want to say thank you to the fans that showed up last night. Like, that was really important for our players. Because there's really no such thing as unconditional love nowadays in sport. You win and you're loved and they're behind you. But our fans were great last night. And that really is important for the young players on our team. To feel supported. I know they were energized by getting back home and in front of them. But yeah, that's just part of it. And I explain it to people all the time. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you know, you can't have this great crowd of like 13,000 people and, you know, have people not upset when you don't win or you don't play well or whatever. It's just not realistic. You can't have both. And that's why this place isn't for everybody. It's not for every coach, and it's not for every player. And that's just part of it. But I'll take the support all day, every day. And I know what happens in the building on a daily basis with our coaches and players. And I think if anybody from the outside like got to like shadow this, I think they'd be very comfortable with the preparation and understand a little bit more about like what happens in the game.
Coach, staying on that topic, right? You know, this past weekend, what happened as far as, you know, not scoring the runs that were, you know, you anticipated or what you've been doing? You know, the ebbs and flows of the season, we try to tell people this all the time. There's going to be moments in the season where guys are just not feeling great. That's just the way baseball works. You're going to feel great, then you're going to have a couple weekends where you're not feeling great. When that happens, and it just so happens to be where there's multiple guys in the lineup that are doing that in the same weekend, and you come back and you get recalibrated and you have these processes, is there something that you do with these guys to get them back on track, right? Everybody's a little different. You know, I had certain processes that got me back on track. Jared got certain processes that had him back on track. Is there something that you try to emphasize or work on with these guys, or is it a case-by-case basis based off the way each player reacts?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think I have a lot of individual meetings. Like, that's one thing I do just to, like, really make sure the communication between the player and myself is in a good spot. And so that the expectations or path forward or path back to where they want to go is clear. So I had a few of those. I wouldn't say I didn't meet with everybody on the team, but probably 5-6 guys I met with on Monday and Tuesday. And then, I really believe like when you want to get back on track, like clarity and being simple is really, really important. And, we kind of, at least offensively, because that was the area that we struggled the most in.
Right.
We have a pretty clear path to how we set this thing up, going back from August 26th, like literally from day one, and one thing builds off of another. And when you get into the course of the season, and as you mentioned, maybe you don't feel as good or you're tired, and that fatigue can crack you a little bit. And then if your plan's not strong, then you leave yourself vulnerable, and then there's a little bit of a confidence deal that comes in, and these things can kind of pile on top of you a little bit. And so we really went back to some really simple principles and core fundamentals that this team has been good at. Like, again, that's the thing. Like, we only had to search back 72 hours before to go like, hey man, this is like one of the best starts and one of the best programs in the history of college baseball's history. Like that was 72 hours ago. And do we want to play better? Yeah. Are we happy with what happened? No. But part of moving forward is analyzing, okay, what can we control? What can we do about this? And it usually starts with how you think. And so a lot of individual meetings, simplify the plan. Like I said, we adjusted practice a little bit, and I thought we were ready to play last night. And we beat a team that was number 26 in the RPI coming into the game. So that's a valuable win as far as the things that this team wants to accomplish. And then now you're back in let's just call it what it is. Every weekend in our league is a super regional.
100%.
So we're back to another super regional weekend this weekend.
Coach, I don't want to dwell too much on last weekend, but I do want to talk about some of the positive stuff. Obviously, it was, in my opinion, it was kind of an anomaly of a weekend, right? Cade Anderson, he's been lights out for the majority of the year. Obviously, that was kind of a one-off start for him. The bullpen was kind of the silver lining, and that's kind of what I want to get to. They were able to keep you in games on Saturday and Sunday and give you an opportunity to make runs at the back end of games and potentially win. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but leading up into this weekend, the question was, who else are they going to rely on outside of Cowan and Evans? And the bullpen threw really well over the weekend. They continue that last night. Can you talk a little bit about the development of the bullpen and the development of some guys that are starting to kind of raise their level of play going into the back half of the SEC?
Yeah, happy to. And I do think that was a positive. And again, when I talk about if you were to, peel this thing back so everybody could see the work that gets put in, you can look at a Jacob Myers and be really optimistic about that. You can look at a Maverick Rizzi and be really optimistic about that. You can look at Cooper Williams. Yep. Connor Benj continues to excel in the little role that we have him, in. Connor Ware, got it out last night. And all those guys, performed well at Auburn. And then again, Zach and Kaysen did their job. And again, if I was to look at that Auburn series, Friday night and Saturday, well, I'll say this. Friday night, we got beat in an SEC baseball game.
Right.
Like Auburn just deserved to win. Saturday, if we come up with a catch or two in the outfield, it might be a different game. Right. It really might be a different game. So instead of, torching the whole team for, we're soft and terrible, all that stuff, like let's talk about, we did hit some balls hard with runners on base. They made the plays. We didn't come up with a couple fly balls, and their leadoff man, smashed a homer to dead center field on a breaking ball. So you have to, they won the game. Sunday was the only one I thought that was there for the taking, and we did not do it. And I think it was a good learning experience. And I think whatever the reason was, mental fatigue, frustration, failure, I think we'll be better, for having lived through that and having to grind through that. And like I said, we have guys on the team that have been through that before, which that's actually a real positive thing. Yep. And I think we saw a little bit of that last night. I would never say like, oh, they got it figured out and all of that because we won a midweek game. I would never do that. But I do the elements that we can control that can lead to positive play, I've seen those, for 3 days. And until you get on the field, like, that's all I can go off of. And I'm excited. I'm excited to compete this weekend. And I'm always excited to compete with these guys that are on our team.
Coach, speaking of competing, now I know today is your deep film day and the day you dive into that aspect of the game. But there's one player on this team that it's kind of hard not to have seen or kind of noticed some of the stuff he's done this year. Are you as surprised with kind of, like, you can almost call it a meteoric rise that Justin LeBron has had this year, and the way he's played and the way he's transitioned into year 2 and how that looks going into the weekend?
Yeah, for sure. And, ironically, Alabama and us have played a very similar schedule. And we've, like, in the cross scouting of, whether it was not Mississippi State, Oklahoma was one of them. I feel like I've seen him twice when I've been watching 2 of our opponents, whoever that was. And he's a really talented player. And you could see this last year as a freshman. Like, he moves like those dudes that they pay a lot of money to that we all on TV. And, I will say I've been very impressed by the improvement in his baseball skill. That's not an athlete out there. That's a terrific athlete. That's a really good ball player now. Yeah. And so, one of the better players in the league, and which means in the country. And we'll have to neutralize him offensively. And he's certainly a great defensive player also.
Coach, one thing you did last night that, you shook up the lineup a little bit, kind of changed the order of the lineup. Is that something just to kind of say, hey, let's try something different? You said y'all made some moves, made some changes. Is that here to stay, or is that just going to be a case-by-case basis? Kind of give us some insight into the decision and how you like the structure of the lineup.
Yeah, I think how the players execute in the game is more important than what order that I actually put them in, although we do put a lot of emphasis into that. So last night was really about last night.
Yeah.
Last week against the University of Houston, McNeese won a tight game against a Big 12 team, and they used 10 pitchers in a 10-inning game. And, so there was some right, left. You saw some sidearm guys, sinker ball guys. I wanted to set it up in a way that we wouldn't have to maybe pinch hit too early if we needed to, but we could be set up where we were able to do it, to make sure we were matched up properly. And so literally, like I said, you go 72 hours for me without winning a ball game. Sometimes that feels like if there's no oxygen for 72 hours. So it was really about setting us up to win last night. Alabama is doing something a little different with their rotation this weekend. So that's got a deep dive into that, and may or may not be the same. I'm just not ready to make that call yet. But like I said, I don't think Danny Dickinson cares if he is first, second, third, fourth, whatever. I don't think Derek Curiel cared if he hit second instead of first. These guys aren't major league players.
Correct.
And they are winners though, and they care, and they wanted to play well in the game last night, and they did. And so looking forward to seeing them execute a good plan tomorrow night.
Coach, I do have a question, because once again, it's kind of like educating, if you will. When you look at Luis Hernandez and what he was asked to do last year and how much more he's obviously catching this year, can you speak to where he is in terms of getting his legs under him and getting used to doing that? Not only doing that, but doing that down here in this heat. It kind of turns into a different thing as well. But doing that on this level and catching as much as he has compared to what he did last year, and what that's like trying to produce as well offensively.
Well, I think for 4 weekends of SEC play, and again, I haven't looked at the whole league. There's so many teams now, like I couldn't tell you, but offensively, and I'm going through the Missouri series, the Texas series, the Mississippi State series, and Oklahoma series for sure. Like he was doing it offensively, like doing it at a high level, and he did it just like the rest of the guys. He had a tough weekend this weekend at Auburn. I'm really proud of how well he's caught. We haven't given up a lot of runs. I know everybody wants us to throw a shutout every game. Nobody more than me. But I believe the quality of his catching has been a big part of that. And then, he's a little bit under the weather, which makes it even more impressive. We had a little bug going through our team, so he actually had to catch again last night. And we took him out at the end of the 6th inning, and I grabbed one of the trainers and was like, "Hey man, if you don't go take care of this dude right now, you're fired," because this was a beastly effort, that he gave us tonight. I actually am going to call him to check in on him here after I'm done with you guys, and we got a lot of IVs and all those things running through Luis today to get him recalibrated.
There you go,
Coach. I think we brought this up after the Texas weekend, but after a weekend that you have, do you like? I mean, you talked about getting back on track and getting back and going. You don't like to have a lot of break. The 2 weekends that y'all have lost, the next week was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, so you do have to get back on there. There's not a lot of time to kind of dwell on the losses. Do you like that? Do you like the way that's set up? Obviously, you're not saying, hey, we can lose this game because we got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. It's just the way it's kind of worked out. Do you like being able to get back on there really quick?
I think it can help, but I mean, honestly, it's just like, it's not the thing or the situation, the circumstance, it's how you choose to look at it. And, I don't know. I mean, would I love to play every game at home at 6:30 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I probably would, but that's not how it goes. And because you guys were awesome and winning titles, and, there's stud players that have played here forever, and the program, ESPN wants to put us on TV,
right?
So we're on TV a lot, which is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that's awesome. So I think it's just how you look at it. Other than making sure the pitching's lined up, I don't pay it much mind, is what I will say. Just making sure we're lined up pitching wise, and it does make the Tuesdays trickier. Fortunately for us, we've scored a lot of runs on Tuesdays, including last night. So I haven't had to overextend anybody, and we're creating more depth in the staff. So that's been a real positive. And, the fact that we haven't had to ask a couple of those guys that are pitching a lot on the weekend to pitch on Tuesdays at all really has been great.
Yeah.
Coach, over a long weekend like this past weekend was, does the orange juice consumption go up or does it go like that?
Yeah, no, I mean... That got blown way out of proportion too.
Not LSU fans.
During I've tried to do a better job of, obviously within the weekend. Like if you lose a game, you have another one coming, so you got to get ready and whatnot. And I'll be honest, we got home on Sunday. It's a good flight home. I mean, other than we lost 3 games, but I was so tired, I fell asleep immediately on Sunday night and woke up very refreshed tomorrow, or Monday, whatever it was. That's just, it's just like I said, the losing thing for me is it's not a good place. It'll just leave.
That's good. That's what we need.
And look, I would hope so. I hope you're not. Hey, we lost. It's okay. I hope that obviously
pizza and ice cream.
Yeah, that's what makes you such a good coach. Is that obviously every game matters and you want to win. You're competitive, and that's part of it. It's a long season. It's a long SEC is a grind. You just mentioned it. Every weekend's basically a super regional game. Y'all are 10-5 in conference. Y'all are right there. All the goals that y'all had set for the end of the season are right in front of you. You have the really tough conference games ahead of you. A lot of them are at home, which obviously is a good thing. I think people don't realize that, they look at it in a microscope right now, but just you're halfway through the SEC. And 2023, y'all were 19-10 in conference. Y'all are 10-5 right now. Y'all are on pace to better that this season. Talk about obviously everybody knows how tough the SEC is, but talk about the grind of the season and how important it is to be in the moment and look towards that, because getting swept one weekend isn't the end of the season. Sweeping a series isn't going to make you win the SEC. It's a week in, week out thing. Talk about how difficult that is, and obviously y'all have navigated that beautifully over the last few years.
Yeah, I think I've gotten a few pieces of good advice about it. One was from a coach in the league and he wasn't trying to help me or LSU out. He just kind of said it hey man, you're going to take a punch. And what he meant by taking a punch is you're going to get swept on the road by somebody, because one of the 5 teams you're playing on the road, I mean, actually probably 4 of the 5 teams you play on the road is capable of winning the national title. So like, not like dwelling on that is really, really important. It's really, really important. And then, you know, the other piece is just like, you can't look at all the games. You have to just look at this game and these games. And, you know, it's why I kind of came up with the saying, like, the regular season here for us is a 56 game playoff. And I think our team this year has done a great job of respecting the game and respecting all the games. We didn't particularly play well on offense last weekend. Other than that, kind of hard to get into what these guys have not done, because there's not much, to be honest with you. And so I like what I said. It's important to me is, what did Monday look like? What did Tuesday prep look like? What did the practice today look like? What did the coaching staff look like in our meeting in the morning? You know, these player meetings that I'm talking about, what we're trying to execute on the field, the confidence of the players, you know, leadership, you know, starting to emerge, you know, like I said, you know, Jared Jones, tough weekend last weekend from a performance standpoint, but it's Sunday at Auburn and he's on the bench trying to keep everybody going.
Yeah.
When there wasn't a whole lot to get anybody going, you know, so just got to stick with it. And it's a beast, man.
It is.
There's big leaguers all over the league. There's tough teams. There's deep pitching staffs. There's power. There's tough road environments. You just got to kind of hang in there and play baseball. And the one thing that's good at is playing baseball.
It's the best, in my opinion, it's the best the SEC has ever been. It's the deepest it's ever been, most talented it's ever been. And so, you know, we're looking forward to you obviously getting back, as you are. We don't want to keep you too long. I know you're getting into it. You got to check on Luis, make sure he's getting hydrated with the IVs. I respect that. I don't want to keep you away from that. But we're looking forward to watching this weekend. Obviously, Easter weekend. I always enjoyed that as a player. You get the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series usually on Easter. So good luck this weekend. We're obviously going to be watching you. I know you're happy to be home for the next 2 weekends with Alabama and Tennessee. So good luck, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Yep, you too.
Here goes.
Thank you.
Man, you sure Coach in our studio talking to us about
I think he listens to the Zoom.
baseball? Man, you listen to our fans, you'd imagine, you think that he just never coached baseball in his life. This is the first time he's ever done it. I don't know how to navigate.
Yeah, I'm glad
some
Jared
adversity.
asked him about that, because you would think.
That was Jared asked him about that.
It's what I said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad Jared to put it, because you saw some of that perspective when McGee was talking about kind of some of the chess moves that he made in the previous series, and then it just feels like people don't really. I don't know if it's like a respect thing or just don't really realize how much work he puts into it, and he's not looking at the game the same way that you are. Like, it's totally different, his perspective and his preparation. He's not 6:45, and just because you keep a book doesn't mean you know more than the coach does.
Right. And
like he's at his office right now.
Yeah, I mean he's
You're at home with your hand in your pants right now, just chilling. Like,
watching wheels.
He's at work
Chips
still.
on your
He's
chest.
At work still.
Chips on your chest while you're watching the recap of the game.
He's not watching the 8-minute clip of the game. He's watching pitch by pitch of what happened. He's not watching wheels.
And look,
and I appreciate you watching wheels.
And we talked about this on Monday, right? Now, and I don't want to get all into it again, but he kind of touched on it. Was outside of not hitting with runners in scoring position, not hitting well at all, which they haven't done yet this year. That was the worst weekend that they've had. They didn't play terrible. It wasn't like they were kicking balls around. It wasn't like they were giving up 10 runs a game. They had an opportunity to win the Saturday and the Sunday game. It didn't happen because sometimes that's the way it works in the SEC. But it's nice to hear him say, okay, he took a step back and he looked at it from all angles and understands, okay, this is what it was. Didn't overreact. Didn't try to make this huge sweeping changes. A lot of people always think there's a solution. Whenever you play bad, the solution is to make all these big moves. A lot of times, 99% of the time, that is the wrong decision. Because you go and you start making all these moves, now what do the players think? Oh, he's panicking.
Right.
Oh, he doesn't think that we could do it. He doesn't know what he's going to do, and he's trying to figure some things out. And a lot of times that does the team a disservice, and it does the opposite of what it was intended to do.
Yeah, trust your process.
Yeah, but say because you got to imagine, man. Like people also forget too. Like where's guys like I don't know. I just think of like guys in the middle of the lineup, like Milam and like Dickinson and stuff like that. Like when it was going good, none of you guys said they should have. Hey, maybe we should move them to a different spot so we can score more. I know we're the number 1 hitting or number 2 hitting team in the league, but like we should score more. Like nobody ever said anything like that because you left it alone because it was just W's. Like just because you go out and lose doesn't mean you should make these big wholesale changes either. Like we talked about the numbers that came out of the weekend on Monday, and man, you look at those numbers, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like they were so bad that you look at a team that's second in the league in hitting, and you're just like, this ain't real.
Right.
This is an outlier. Like I'm not gonna believe that this is who they are after they put this body of work together already.
Right.
This is an outlier. Let's retool, like he said. Let's reset, like he said. Let's re-challenge and refocus some things, and we back at it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we back at it tomorrow, coming on Thursday. Like that's where you at. Like you don't give up on what's done or what's gone so far for you already.
Right.
You just gotta try to refocus it. And like I talked about this on the other side, and I'm not giving them an excuse. Like at the end of the day, the schedule is a schedule. You got to play the schedule, and you go through things in the schedule. But it's not about how good you are on one weekend in April or how good you are on one weekend in May. It's about what can you do over the totality of the schedule 100%. To get yourself ready for the end of May, going into June.
Right.
And so what I mean by that is like, man, when I watch a team that's great and they have a great weekend, that's awesome. The last couple weeks when I talked about those 2 weeks being the most impressive I've seen them all year, and it's not necessarily about just the numbers. What I meant by that is what it took to get there. Could they possibly have been a little fatigued? Maybe.
No doubt.
I'm not saying it's an excuse, but my point is these things happen. And for them to be that good over those last 2 weeks, if they got bounced in the first round, if they got bounced in 2 games in a row in the regional, no one would give a shit about those two.
Right.
Same as if last week, if they get all the way to Omaha, nobody will give a shit about that week last week. So none of that stuff really matters. You played the schedule to make sure you're ready to be going and you're good to go when you get to the end of May. And that's really what this is all about.
Let me ask you this. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's perfect segue into my next point. It just so happened this past weekend that your top hitters all struggled at the same time, right? Last year, when did Milam get hot? Back half the SEC into the postseason.
Back half of the SEC, yeah.
When did Jared Jones get hot? Back half the SEC in the tournament. I think he hit 4, 5, 6 home runs over the last 2 weeks through the SEC tournament. When did Jake Brown start having some big hits, hitting some balls over the fence? SEC tournament, back half the season. My point in saying all that is just because one weekend in the middle of the SEC play wasn't great, these guys have shown that they've been able to make the adjustments in the past. Milam did it as a freshman. Jake Brown did it as a freshman. Jared Jones did it last year as a sophomore. So I have zero reservations in saying these guys are going to figure it out because they've shown you that they're able to do that. And you know, the more at bats you get in SEC play, the more times you have the opportunity to get hot. You're going to get hot at the right time. They've had we did the math, and I second guessed myself on the math.
Oh God!
But they've played 15 games so far in the SEC. If you average 4 at bats a game, that's 60 at bats. You go and you have a weekend where you go 7 for 12 in the weekend. All of a sudden, your struggles in the SEC are no longer struggling in the SEC because you have a limited amount of at bats. Not making excuses, just saying, hey, they've shown you that they can get hot, and they're going to get hot, and they're going to grind through this, and they're going to be ready when it matters. And I think Jay knows that. He knows that more now this year than he did last year, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like we said, it's one weekend, man. It's one. Just like earlier this year, I forget what weekend it was where all the arms walked all those people, and now all of a sudden we're like, not we, but people are like, I don't know. It's one weekend, man. They haven't done that from the mound since then, and they haven't looked like this at the plate all year yet. Like, these things happen. It's about when you go through ruts, how quickly can you get out? And one thing you don't usually see, and I think we can all sit here and say this, like, I can't remember the last time I seen what felt like an entire team struggle as much as they did this weekend. So, like, that's kind of like an outlier among the outlier, which was this weekend, but it doesn't make me go, oh my God, I don't know if they can play. It just doesn't.
Right.
I understand that. Like, that's a 3-game sample size. Let's move forward and see what happens.
I will say this. If Rizzi and Myers can throw that way for the rest of the way, that is a game changer. Like, game changer, right?
Yeah.
Because Jacob Myers, the issue has never been, oh, this guy get hit? Does he have the stuff? It's, can he throw strikes? He's done that 2 outings in a row.
0 walks.
0 walks. 2 outings in a row. I know he didn't throw a ton of innings, but that's not what they're going to ask him. They're not going to ask him to throw 6 innings. They throw 1 or 2 innings and go and do what you got to do and get guys out. And if he continues to do that, that's a weapon. And then Rizzi was a freshman. He's taken some time to kind of get ready, get used to it. And it seems like he's taken that next step. And those are 2 really, really important pieces to the puzzle, I think. And look, Cooper Williams, same thing, freshman. Another lefty. There's a lot of promise there. There's a lot of high hopes for him, a lot of expectations in his career, and he's starting to kind of find his way. And so, whenever you go through a weekend like that, you got to find some of the positives, and to me, those are some positives.
Yeah, I would go back to the Jacob Myers thing. It's, man, the way he throws that fastball, if he's able to throw strikes, it is so explosive. And now, obviously, like, we watch – now, at the end of the day, too, like, that's a much better McNeese team than, like, people kind of give him credit for. I don't know where they'll go in postseason play. I really don't. But it's a better team than what people are going to give them credit for, at least. But watching him throw last night and seeing the way he alters swings, like, there wasn't aggressive swings being taken. Like, dudes were literally – the ball was so explosive that dudes were, like, trying to play Pepperwood. Like, legitimately trying to play Pepperwood.
Yep.
And then you watch that and you're like, man, if he can throw strikes and he can stay in the zone consistently, especially with that fastball, it is so explosive and it changes what offenses are trying to do, and it adds so much more of a piece for LSU out of that bullpen that it becomes a different thing for that
and look,
rotation, but for that staff, the bullpen.
And everybody panics because they want LSU to host and do all these types of things. Like, the questions maybe it was on Monday or maybe it was last week, is what record do they have to host, right? And, we talked about our predictions and all that type of stuff. If you go and you look at the standings, and we've talked about this, right, it's going to be a battle at the end of the season, right? There's going to be carnage in the SEC. Texas is not going to go the rest of the season losing 3 games in the SEC or 2 games in the SEC, whatever they're at. They have to play a tough schedule. Arkansas, Tennessee play tough schedules. Everybody's got a tough schedule. If LSU wins, let's say LSU wins the series this weekend, they're 12-6 through 18 games. If I told you that through 18 games in the season, LSU's 12-6, would you take it? Everybody would be like, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, we're taking 12-6, because that means technically you've won every series, right? Based off of record-wise, right? And, they're right there to do everything they want to do. I believe 20 wins is going to win the SEC this year, and they're halfway there.
Yeah, they're in a good spot, man. They're in striking position. You got to remember where they were last year halfway through. 2-13 or 3-12, was it? I believe
something like that. I don't even know. Not good.
So I don't care what the wins looked at. If you're gonna sit here and tell me you look at this team and be like, I don't know if they got it. Remember where they were last year.
Yeah.
Just remember where they were last year, right? So, like, this team is in a much better position, and I firmly believe too that start is probably what held them out of getting into at least the Super Regional. Because if they host a regional, they make it into the Supers. Like, I firmly believe that last year.
Yep.
Like, the team was good enough to do that. I think it's tough going on the road and having to beat a team like UNC like they had to go on the road and do last year. So being able to host is a big thing, and you've got yourself firmly in position without having to go ham over the back half of the schedule to do it. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting second half of the SEC, without a doubt. Lloyd, you got anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, nobody's
heard your voice all day.
With the camera. You doing good with the cameras today, but damn, dog. I mean, you got Grouch on your shoulder over here. Like, what we doing over here? Come on, bro.
I've just been listening. Y'all got good takes today. Nothing to add.
Okay,
but I do think that it's when you talk about like the Myers situation, the Maverick Rizzi, like you've seen Rizzi and spurts, and Myers, it kind of felt like you haven't really, like what he's capable of, but it's not that they lack talent. If they're able to do the one
Right.
thing that you need them to do, which is throw strikes, that does change the complexity and the makeup of the baseball team. Like, that's what you're still looking for, because over the past, 2 series, that question never got answered. Like, you didn't have to use the bullpen at all whenever you were able to throw Kate Anderson in a complete game, and you used 5 pitchers. And then whenever you got swept at Auburn, it didn't really come down to that. It was like close baseball games, but it wasn't let's see what happens when you put Jacob Myers in. Let's see what happens when Cooper Williams comes in the game. Now you're being able to see them in the midweek, and I do think that that's something that it's starting to get each and every time. It's getting to be a little bit better. But I do have a question of what you think that their strategy is with William Schmidt as he goes another, 50 pitches, 55 pitches last night?
To me, the strategy is
Go
ahead, Jay.
I think right now,
Because
I
now
think they
it's
like what they have going in terms of the rotation. We obviously know that Cowan and Evans are 2 very trusted arms out of the pen. I don't know. I think we kind of felt like maybe they wanted to have that option to do that on Sunday, if you will, and maybe they still feel that way. But I also still think they look at him like, hey, this is an arm that's better than the average, right? Obviously, much better than the average. He's still a young kid, so there's some learning and stuff that he has to do and that he's going through a couple learning pains, if you will. But I think they kind of look at it as like top end right now. If we have to come in and give him some long relief situation, we feel good about doing this maybe with a lead, but we also feel really good about doing this in times. Like, say if there's a game where they feel like we need to spend some innings, I think they feel like, hey, we have an offense that's good enough that can scrap back into the game. But maybe in a spot where it's like that, where we had to pull a pitcher early, maybe we have him in there and it's not necessarily burning the guy that we have the most trust in right now, if you want to say it that way. But we throw him out there, next thing you know, he's throwing 3 1/3, 4 2/3, and we're back in the game because he's giving top end production like his talent says he has.
Yeah.
And maybe that brings him along even further. So I think that there's kind of like that long relief, but it's like a multifaceted like long relief opportunity for him.
100%. I think they're comfortable using him in 1 inning of relief. I think they're comfortable using multiple innings. I think they're comfortable starting him. But I think the number one priority right now is getting him innings and experience, right? Whether that's the weekend, whether that's midweek, it is, hey, this guy is going to be one of our guys, and we need to get him valuable innings under his belt. And they're treating him the same way they treated Kate Anderson last year. You know, this year's a little different because you don't have the question mark on Sunday necessarily of I know what you're going to go at. I don't think it's a question mark yet. But last year, you didn't have a third starter, at least a guy that you believe that could do it, right? And so it was bullpen day on Sunday, and we were screaming, let's just throw this guy out there, give him an opportunity. That didn't happen. It's obviously worked out for Kate Anderson. I believe that they're confident in William Schmidt and confident if they have to put him out there. But if he's not going to throw, if their situation doesn't dictate him throwing over the weekend, they're going to utilize the midweek to give him experience, and that's what you've seen so far.
Hey, you just heard Jay just talk about how important that game was for them because of what McNeese has done. William Schmidt was out there for a long time, so that should tell you a lot of what he thinks about him.
Right. Yep. Right. And I think he's gotten better. I mean, he hasn't been perfect, but he's a freshman, right? And it's going to take some time, and you know he's getting better and better, and he looks more comfortable out there. And there's a lot to be said for feeling comfortable as a freshman in the SEC, and that's what they're trying to do. All right, Ask Mikie and Mitch. We got questions?
We do indeed. Ask Mikie and Mitch up on Twitter, and we have a couple in the chat that I will get to. But first, I'll attack.
If you hit me with,
I haven't read them yet.
I'm going to jump through this goddamn computer screen right now. I'm just letting you know.
What do you not want to hear about?
If you hit me with what do we think the lineup should be, I'm coming through this computer screen.
Ask him and him.
He's gonna do.
How do y'all feel about the lineup change? Can y'all explain the philosophy behind making a 2 and 3 hole switch?
I think Jay answered that one. He said it's a game by game basis. You know, I don't put too much stock into it at all. Jared's not going to answer it.
I'm not putting that much stock into it, man. I already told you that I thought early on this year that the lineup that they were going with and what they've used for obviously the majority of the season, I was like, this is good, but I think that there's ways that this can be better. So I'm not surprised that at some point in the season we're having to find ways to tinker with it. And that doesn't mean I think that they're not good. Obviously, what they've done has been good enough to be a top 2 to 3 team in the SEC. So like, I'm obviously not saying they're a bad ball club, but I'm just saying, like, that's what I thought. So I'm not surprised at all that a point in the season will come, just like it happens with every season, with every team, where there's some shakeups because we got to figure out what's going on. That's it.
Yep.
Ask M&M from Cody Slavinsky. With new bullpen arms earning trust, do we see Cowan potentially starting a game prior to the postseason under the assumption that he may be a starter in a must-win postseason game?
I don't think so. I think he's comfortable in that role. I think Jay's comfortable in that role, and I think Jay's got a lot of confidence in Chase Shores, as he should. And I think that it's going to be status quo and continue their roles the way it is. I think that Cowan's got enough experience as a starter to not need to have the experience this year as a starter to be ready to pitch in the game if he has to.
Yeah, when I mentioned Jay running around with the 6 to 8 and was looking like now it's almost narrowed down to 6 starters and those guys might have to start later in the year. When I mentioned that a couple weeks ago, I only truly meant that in terms of if there was something unfortunate that happens with those 1, 2, and 3. Because right now, if 1, 2, or 3 doesn't truly throw well in any said single game, and you are, let's say, either in a close game and or you're leading, that there's a good chance that Cowan's coming into the game anyway. So we're not going to be saving him for starting number 4, if you will, because we still want him to be able to throw in these kind of games. So that's what I think about those guys. I think he is positioning himself to, one, finish games with those guys, but also, like, if I do it this way, knowing that these guys can also throw in a start position, I think that's kind of on his mind as well.
Yeah.
There was an interesting thread on one Tiger Droppings as dramatic comparison of Cowan versus Shores in SEC play. Cowan, .47 ERA, 19 innings pitched, 1 earned, 4 walks, 23 strikeouts. Opponent's batting average is 145. Shores, 7.23 ERA and 18 2/3 innings pitched, 15 earned runs, 13 walks, 19 strikeouts.
Right. I get all that.
And batting .297 against.
I get all that. But if Cowan's getting the starter innings,
yeah, I mean he's pitched more than Shores.
So I think they're going to keep that same strategy. I get the numbers. You can look at the same numbers for the other 2 starters. They're both in the mid-4s in SEC ERA right now.
Yeah, but name me the game so far in the SEC schedule that you can definitively look at and say, we lost this game because Chase Shores was on the mound.
No. That's what you've said that multiple times, and it continues to still be true.
Yeah, so what's the change-up for?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, no, let him go. We already knew that. I won't necessarily say I'm pointing to this weekend, but it could be the one where you get over the hump. But we already knew, man, like second half of the year, back half of this conference play, going into that, like that 6 to 8 weeks, that's where we were hoping things would really start to kick up for him.
Yep.
Like, that's just it, bro. Like, the man didn't pitch for almost 2 years. All right, like that, the fine-tuned things that you only get out of repetition and doing the stuff over and over and over again, that shit don't just show up because you're healthy.
Right.
It comes back through repetition, and that's what he's getting. So you can't take that away from him if you thought that he was going to be a vital part of what you do. So I'm with. I like ride with it, rock with it.
Knee with it, rock with it. Gonna take a shot with it. That's Mikie and Mitch. What famous eating challenge do you think you could do? The 72-ounce steak in Texas? Chicken wing challenge? Any of the above? From the Fonz.
I think I could do both. The 72-ounce steak challenge, I think I'd crush. Unless they make me eat
Yeah.
the fat.
I'd probably go to 72-ounce steak challenge. I'd probably go with that one.
I tried to do the whole, let me see how many
The
wings
big
I can get at
Texan.
Buffalo Wild Wings on like the 50-cent wing night. And
If
you
I
get to
did
a
that,
certain
I would never
amount,
wanna eat wings again.
it just doesn't taste good anymore.
Yeah, that seems miserable.
Yeah, I would never want to eat wings again if I did that. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that to myself.
This doesn't look. I mean, 72 ounces. How many pounds is that?
Well,
16 ounces in a pound. 6.
16 times 2 is 32. So that's 2 pounds. 4 pounds is 64.
5. 5
So
pounds.
5 pounds. I mean, obviously not
We're
quite
math
5.
majors.
This is our specialty.
It's 4.5 pounds, I think. I could do that. I could do that.
Eat the broccoli?
Is that part of it?
No.
Okay.
You asked me to do it. You asked me to eat the. You asked me to eat the steak.
A little ketchup on the side.
I could do that. No ketchup, though.
You're a big ketchup guy.
Not on my steak, though.
Yeah.
Next.
Next up, how much money to do the one chip challenge? The hot chip.
What is the one challenge?
No.
What is the one?
It's
What is
really
that?
a hot ass chip.
It's like the hottest chip ever. That's the one Shaq did, and he like almost choked on himself.
Yeah, people like think they can do it. I've seen a crackhead do it, and he survived. Like he was nothing. But that's the only one I've seen tackle it without like really making a face. But he does
I
crack.
don't want any part of
I
that.
don't want it. I don't want it.
No
Nope.
part of that. Next.
Ask Mikie Mitch, is there something to the resources LSU has at home that could explain the offensive struggles towards the end of a long stretch on the road? I know y'all have spoken of certain pitching machines that they have.
I don't think it's resources. I think it's just comfortability, being back in your own bed, kind of being on the schedule, not in the hotel rooms. You kind of have a lot more variables that you can control at home.
Yeah.
And you play and practice there more than anywhere else you go. So I think it's more that than necessarily the resources that they have.
I'm just looking at this really quick. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought there was 2 series that was on the road like that. No, but yeah, I mean, dude, you get to sleep in your own bed. You know, there's just you're in your own routine. I think that's kind of a big thing. If you look around the league, I think the top maybe 6 or 7 teams in the league don't have more than 3 losses at home on the year. Like,
Right.
it's not an LSU thing; it's an everybody thing. Like,
Yep.
you dominate at home and you avoid sweeps on the road. That's kind of like the thing you want to do. Now, with that being said, you'd be like, oh, well, they just got swept. Well, yeah, but they've also swept 3 series this year, so that's not normal either. You get what I'm saying? So, like, that's just kind of how it's always been. Mike will tell you the same thing. In this league is you win home series and you avoid getting swept on the road. Like that's the best thing to do to put yourself into the postseason. Obviously, winning all the series is what we all want to do. That doesn't truly happen every year. You do those things, you usually put yourself in this position where you're in the postseason.
Correct.
Ask him at home. What was your pregame playlist, and was it the same every game?
Dreams and nightmares. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't the same game. Just depending on what was hot, dude. I like new music, so like if there was good stuff that came out, like I'm listening to new stuff. I'm not usually like I need the same music, I need the same song. Now if I went to a struggle, man, I probably took myself mentally back to a different spot. I went to music that I was like, all right, I know I just kind of need to hear this and on repeat all the time. Like I like old school like Wayne hustling music. Like
Yep.
I was struggling, like let me get that on and just have it on repeat and roll with it. But that wasn't all.
Yeah, I was the same way. Now, you in the locker room when you have the big speaker, right, and you're playing something in the locker room.
How does that work?
There was
Who gets
probably
control.
Well, it depends. College, it was a little bit more. You kind of knew what you're gonna get. Like college, it was more of all right. You're gonna have a couple songs you're gonna play right before they go out. Like it's just one of those things. Like we've been winning with this song, we're gonna play it. In professional baseball, it becomes a little more of a battle.
I bet.
Right? If you have a good locker room, you got somebody who's controlling the music majority of the time. If you have a locker room where you're not super close, it is a race.
The free for
to the
all.
locker room, and you get all kinds of stuff, Latin music,
country
usually
music.
somebody who's like a good DJ though. Like that's that's usually like somebody that got some decent taste in music.
Yep.
Whether it's usually across a couple different genres, like it's usually somebody that you be like, hey, you doing your thing over there. You go ahead and keep that.
Yeah, and
Keep rolling.
when you got someone who's good on it, and they're playing it, and everybody's kind of vibing, then all of a sudden people are like, hey, play this song. It's still in the same genre of music. Then you're like, okay, everybody's kind of feeling this, and now we're all kind of getting involved in it, and we're good.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's usually like slower music when you first get in the locker room, like country or like something chill, and then
closer to game time.
and then as it gets closer and you need some energy, it's a lot better stuff, more rap, that kind of stuff.
I would imagine that's if you were just a fly on the wall, and you could probably determine how the team was doing based off of just that.
And
If you
usually
were
have a
in
winning
one-
song. Every
Right.
time you win, they play the song when you walk in.
Yeah. Have you seen any of the Red Sox series that's on Netflix?
No, I still haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a very good
I've only seen 2 episodes, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it feels like it's very realistic.
I would love to play for Alex Cora.
Really?
I would have loved to. He reminds me, I would have loved to play with Alex Cora. And looking at that, I would have gone about the way I approach things differently too. I would have gotten closer to the managers than I was.
There's a lot of I would love to have heard you mic'd up for a season.
I mean, honestly, Cass is a wild card.
Yeah,
But some of the shit that he says and motherfucking himself, that was me.
yeah, there's no doubt. That's the first person I thought of.
That was me.
God damn it, Mahtook. Fuck.
That was me.
What kind of fucking swing was that? God damn it. That's what they do. And he's over on first base talking about his at bat still. The
Yep.
whole time.
That's me. That's me.
You know what they really should do? That would be just absolutely explosive TV. You need a nice microphone in the bat and the helmet rack or the bat rack.
Oh my God.
'Cause you can hear those conversations when people are either out or get hits, coming back after they scored. Boy.
If you heard me,
you would love.
I would have a lot of, this guy sucks. This guy sucks. I never said this guy was good.
Yeah.
I got myself out. This guy sucks. The guy could throw 102 and be the best pitcher in the world. He stinks. That's how I'd say it. But,
That's not his case. Maybe he was good.
that was my.
Pretty standard.
Yeah.
How the
That
hell
was
else are you supposed to go up there and hit 95 plus? You'd be
No
like,
doubt.
oh my God.
me. No doubt.
This guy's pretty good.
No doubt.
We ain't got a prayer. Speaking of, Josh
Hey.
Knoll.
Or I'll come back.
If you came back into the dugout and you're like, hey, bro, that slider, you got no shot.
Yeah.
Or I come back and I used to say,
Yeah.
just lack of talent. It's just lack of talent by me. I'm just not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's my fault. It's a me thing. It's a skill issue. Speaking of, Josh Knoll, ask Eminem, was there a pitcher who had your number in pro ball that may not be a huge name? They all stink.
That one's tough.
Yeah.
That one's tough.
Yeah, the Braves. I always forget his name, and he actually bounced around the big leagues for a while and was in the league for a minute. He came up with the Braves. There was this lefty reliever that literally just threw this big ass, looping ass, but sharp in looping, breaking ball. I fucking had no chance against this dude, bro. He dominated me. Every time I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, not him again. There we go. And every at bat, it was 3 to 5 pitches. It was never a fight. It was just him whooping my ass. And I'm like, bro, can y'all get him out of here? I'm tired of seeing it.
I'm sure there's multiple guys like that. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm sure.
Oh.
Everybody's got it.
Yeah, everybody's got, they're, it could be somebody that no good. Legit no good, but it's dude, he has my number. And
the crazy thing is there's a guy that's probably really good that you have his number. And you're like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I like this question. P-Dub, 2-part question. What was your childhood number, and what was the inspiration?
Childhood, when you're young?
Yes.
Travel ball is 25.
Big Mac?
Yep.
Interesting pick.
And then I got to high school when I was 8 all through high school. So, yeah.
I love single digit numbers. So I think I wore number 2 in football for a long time. And then I switched to 3, and then 3 was kind of the thing in both sports, and it just kind of stayed. So it was kind of, for a long time, like really the thing. I think at one point I was probably wearing like number 14 as like a running back in football, but like, I always love single digit numbers. I don't really know.
Yeah, me too.
I want it to be 12. I was trying to get 12 because I was a quarterback. I was like 12 is like the quarterback number.
Tom Brady.
Couldn't get it because Lance Kelly, who Jared knows, played with him, was 12. And so that's when I went with 8, and I was like, oh, I kind of like 8. I want 8 for baseball and football. I want to have the same number, and that's how it happened. And then I got to LSU, and me and Grant Dozar, same travel ball team, both signed with LSU, finished the game, both had missed calls from Coach Maneri. Grant was like, Mike, you call him first. I'm like, all right, call him first. Maneri's like, hey, I'm calling all the recruits, like, what number do you want for next year? And I was like, is 8 available? And Grant punched me right in the fucking leg. And he's like, I was like, you told me to call him. He said, 8 is available. I said, I want 8. And then Grant got 7.
Hey, that's kind of funny because the same situation kind of happened with me when I showed up at LSU. I didn't wear 3 in football because Buster Davis had it, who was an eventual first rounder that year, right? Another receiver. So during the fall or later during the fall, I get to talk to Coach Manera, and I'm asking him about it. He's like, well, what number you usually wear? I was like, bro, I would love to wear number 3. Like, that's kind of been my thing forever. And he was like, Ryan Schimpf has it. So I want to say, like, my first day showing up there before this ever happened, I think I was wearing 16, and Schimpf was wearing 3. And because Schimpf was okay with it, we swapped numbers. So, like, that's kind of how that whole thing happened.
Wow. Interesting.
That's awesome that he didn't care. Because
if you know him, if you know Schimpf, it's par for the course. Like, whatever.
I don't care.
Let me just hit homers and doubles.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Because it's so
he was just buggy whipping shit all day anyway. He didn't really have time. That was at the time when Schimpf didn't realize. I don't think he knew that there was like field to the left side of the second baseman. Everything he hit was right center to the first base dugout. Like, that's where he lived.
Either a homer or a top spin double. Homer or top spin double. It was unbelievable.
The homers had top spin on him at that time. Like, that's what he was at that time.
Yep. And then his junior year, figured out how to go the other way a little bit and went 23 homers.
Yeah. Yep.
Next.
Oh, Jonathan Allen. Ask him, what is the least amount of wins over the next 2 weekends that y'all would consider a success?
The least?
Yes.
Oh, the next 2 weekends?
Yes, so 6 games.
Bama and who? Who's after that?
Tennessee.
A
success? Like
both of them, 2 wins for me. Like, they gotta 2 wins
in each series.
No. 2 wins means, like, if they come out of these next 2 weekends and they're 2-4, that's not a success. Like, you're at home, you need to take care of business at home. You're gonna play a hungry team but one that you should be able to take care of because they're desperate, right? But then you're also gonna play a very good team. I need you at least bottom, at worst, 500 or better.
Okay. So what do we consider a success? A success, I would say a success, 4-2.
Yeah.
If something that I can tolerate, 3-3. Anything less than that, not a success.
What if you sweep?
Nope. 4-2 is. You asked the number of wins. You didn't talk about winning series or not. 4-2 is the number of wins.
Ask how it happened. I'm literally telling you, 3-3. I'm okay with. Anything less, I'm like, all right. Where's this thing going wrong? Where's the problem at? What needs to be addressed?
Now, I think they do go 4-2 though. I think they win both series. I'd love to see them go 5-1. It'd be amazing, but that's getting greedy. I think they do go 4-2.
Randy,
go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to ask another.
I just think they take care of business this weekend. I think next weekend is going to set up to be an emotional weekend, and
people are going to lose their minds if they sweep and then get swept, and you're like, no success.
Easy.
3-3.
Easy.
Interesting factoid. Oh, Randy Jones. We talked about this before the show. One of the highlights of the broadcast was Big Ben putting Mikey on for his 56 game in a row on base streak, only second to Dylan Cruz at 75.
They shortchanged me. It was 70, and then I was told it was active, like single season, but then they said Dylan Cruz went 70 71 games because they played 71 in the 23 season, and then he had the last 4 of the 22 season.
22 to 23. Yeah.
So they went 2 years back for him, and they
Not for
only
you.
did. I had 70, but they said 56 because it was every game I played in 2011. I appreciate that. I just wish they would have given me 75 and 70 makes it a lot tighter than 75 and 56.
It was more of a Dylan Cruz stat.
You know what I mean? Like, beat me by 19 games. You're only beat me by 5 games. You know? He beat me in a lot of other stats.
I just want to know, how does it count for one and not for the other? I'm genuinely confused on that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they knew that it was actually like 2. If they got, I don't know, but that was the case. That was the case. Now he's beaten me. I mean, every other stat, obviously, whatever. But that one, they shortchanged me on that.
Yeah, they made because it did 56 games is a lot, and then they're 75 games. Like Jesus Christ, you're like, well, I guess it makes it sound better than it was if it's 75 and 70.
Right?
Like it would have been nice for you.
Right?
Damn, look at
Listen.
LSU.
Yeah.
Got some dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting factoid about me. This is Glimmer Fredette. I used to own an authentic Jared Mitchell football jersey number 87 that may or may not have been stolen property from the photographer. Statute is up.
Wow.
Statute of limitations is up.
Wow. Should get him to sign it.
Yeah.
My God! Send it over here. I'll send it back. I promise. I will.
Yeah. That old heavy ass mesh jersey.
Oh man, that's dope. That's dope. Though. I appreciate that. That's love. That's love. Yeah.
DJ Trauma. Ask Mitch. What was your favorite moment as a player from LSU baseball? Was there the whole 3 weeks in Omaha in 09? Mine was the leadoff 3-run bomb for Game 3. I was losing my mind down the first base line.
My favorite moment ever? Man, if I'm being completely honest,
that curtain call
it's
picture
because
is
I got to celebrate the ultimate close to the ultimate celebration, mid-play, because I knew we talked about this recently, because I knew I wasn't stopping. It had to be the walk-off when we beat Rice, honestly.
Oh, yeah, 2008.
Yeah, the ball left the bat, and I'm like, you out your damn mind if I'm not ending this game right now.
That's awesome.
That and the thought process, not thought process, I'm pretty sure it actually happened. I don't know who has pictures, but all 3 of us being on the third base line at the same time and ending a game on national television. Yeah, that was cool for me. That was probably one of my because I felt like I was running and celebrating at the same time. But although I was sprinting because I knew I'm not stopping. I don't care what happens, I'm not stopping.
Funny story about that three-run homer. So the night before we lost Game 2, and we all got together in a room, and we all had a, kind of a leadership deal. We kind of got everybody right. Nick Pon and all the seniors kind of had to say we're saying something. Nick Pon said oh, we're gonna win. Fuck these guys. And Jared Mitchell's going to hit a 3-run home run. Is what he said in that.
Unprompted, yeah.
Unprompted. It wasn't predictions. Nobody was giving predictions. He just said, Jared's going to hit a 3-run homer. First inning, 3-run homer, and everybody went nuts. It was wild.
That's awesome.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Ask Mikie and Mitch. Ooh. Who was the better defensive outfield? You two and Neon Leon? Or Laird, Stevenson, and can't remember the third?
Well, I think that answers the question.
That's what I was about to say.
I mean, listen, they were great. I'd put our outfield up against anybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had 3
1,
center
2, 3,
fielders
4.
out there.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All 3 guys got drafted as center fielders.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Was it Fraley? Was he the other one of those outfielders?
Laird?
Or was Fraley before them?
Foster,
maybe?
I think Fraley was with them.
Fraley was after Bregman, so it was after. I don't know when. I don't know the time frame.
Laird was a freshman in 2013, if I remember correctly. So it'd been 15, 16, 14, 15.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget the time frame when
Who
Fraley
was
was there.
Did Dykeman?
Dykeman was 17.
17. I'll take 09.
I would too. I would take that. I mean, I'd put that team up against anybody, to be honest with you. And that's not. I'm not trying to be biased. I just.
Well, you did put. I mean, you won.
The boys were nice though. They did their thing. I'm gonna give them that.
Who?
We'll say that. The 3 you just said. The boys were nice.
Oh yeah, very nice. Awesome.
But I got us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any other ones?
Let's see. Those were fun. Ask Eminem. Is there any chance we see Sheeran before the end of the year? Devin Sheeran obviously was throwing a bullpen.
Ed
Sheeran? Yeah, I'd love to see him pitch.
Yeah. I don't know.
Tat it up.
Thinking out loud, I would say maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't give an accurate. I would hope maybe. I mean, you got 2 months left at least. You know?
I wouldn't imagine he's throwing right now for summer ball, so maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
That'd be a great story too.
P8, where's your question? P810? Jesus. I don't see it. Ask it again. Ask him to him. Did y'all encounter any other Louisiana guys that stuck it out in pro ball or get asked about LSU?
What do you mean?
What?
That stuck out in pro ball or get asked about LSU? Like, I guess the other guys that asked you about LSU or, like, people from Louisiana that you played against?
Oh, I mean, I played against a ton of people from Louisiana.
Everybody.
I'm just reading the
It's
question.
everybody. Everyone asks about it. It just is. Everyone asks about, like, LSU. It's everybody.
Yeah.
They ask about it. They ask me more about LSU football, obviously.
Right.
Because everyone wants to know what that experience was like. But, yeah, it gets asked a ton.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big conversation about it, and then it usually leads to, I want to come to a game in the off season.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. But I mean, you play against, like, there's a bunch of guys that were from Louisiana that played for other smaller Louisiana schools that we played against. Jace Peterson was one of them. I don't think he's playing anymore, maybe, but he's played for a long time. He made a really good career out of it. He was really good. Remember I was telling you on the show the other day from McNeese, the guy who plays football and baseball. At McNeese,
yeah.
It was Jace Peterson.
Yep.
And he was good. I think he was a second rounder.
Oh, here's your question, P810. Yeah, computer. Ask Mikie and Mitch. Do we have any update on Milazzo's coaching career and how many times he's been tossed?
We do not have that. I actually had lunch with Milazzo the other day, and I did not ask him. He said he's enjoying it, though. I did not ask him how many times he's been ejected. I will ask him that the next time I'll talk to him.
Over, under?
Coach I don't have that answer.
Over, under 1. I think he's probably keeping his cool right now.
Yeah.
Year 1.
It's going to happen.
2. Yeah. He's keeping his cool. God, yeah. It's crazy. This is year 2.
Oh, Peggy. Ask him at him. Jay discussed the pitching this weekend, but what was your opinion on the defensive issues this weekend? Errors, missed balls, shifts, etc.
Was my opinion on it just baseball? I mean, they haven't. It's not something that they've. Yeah, it's not something that they've done all year, and it's just kind of one of those weird things. Playing a new place that you really haven't played at a lot. I mean, I get it. Stanfield played there for a while, but it's just baseball.
And that's a unique stadium too, and I'm not giving I'm not giving it a pass, but like there's some different bounces, and like you said, it's one time, and like it's just baseball. Like that's the thing about baseball, and I do think that's one of those things that makes, like, when you watch football, it's what makes football so great. It's what makes football so popular, is that you get your team one time a week, and you don't get them again for the next 6 to 7 days. So yes, like, you sensationalize everything you saw on that one, right? Baseball, you got them that weekend, and then they had 2 days off, and they played another game. Well, they had 1 day off. No, 2 days off, right? Because they played Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
No, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
They played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they had 1 day off, and then they played again, and they're going to have 1 day off, and then they're going to play 3 more. Right. So, like, 1 weekend. Like, table. Like, it was a bad one. I get it. Table it.
Yep. Any other ones?
Yes.
Let's make this the last one. Let's get to our seggies, huh?
Sure. Zach Starling, that 72-ounce steak, you got to eat a potato, like 4 shrimp, and a chicken finger. So you get your chicken finger.
That's a weird
That's
deal.
what he said. He got something weird like that. But that's not the last question.
Okay.
I'll do it for Fonz. He says I don't ask his questions when I clearly do. Ask him at him. How much shit talking was there in the MLB locker room for SEC football games?
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, yeah. The most.
I had so Stringfellow sent me like a legit football jersey so I could hang in my locker, and it had like my last name on it, and I would wear it in batting practice, like in the cages during SEC, like during the football season. And a lot of shit talking, and the problem with that is I wasn't in the MLB locker room in 2019 because obviously you don't get to go the whole season. But I was in there with the Ogeron years when they lost and that whenever and look, you can say a bunch of stuff about LSU and everybody loves to talk shit about them too. When you lose, so there is a lot of shit talking in there about it.
Oh, you're done? I thought you were going to continue.
Oh no,
okay.
There's a lot of shit talking.
I'm sure I'd imagine a lot of SEC on SEC crime or where they're from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole lot, though.
And you get a lot of guys from California that don't give a shit because they didn't have good football teams.
No, they give a shit.
High school?
Their giving shit comes out. It comes out in turn the page.
Yeah.
Man, turn the page.
Yeah.
Oh my bad. I forgot you went to Cal Poly. My
Yeah.
My bad, bro. I won't talk about it. My bad, bro.
Exactly. All right. We appreciate y'all for all the questions. Ask Mikie Mitch, as always. You make our Wednesday that much better. Lloyd.
Speaking of 72-ounce
Steak of the day.
Have you seen this picture?
I'm kind of nervous about what you're about to do.
Bryce Underwood got fat.
Oh. Is that real?
Yeah.
So stupid, man. Good God.
Hey, he throws a good football, though.
He does. But all that NIL money, $12 million a year, man got fat.
Oh, man.
LSU they dodged a bullet.
That's unfortunate.
Lloyd literally put this up as his mistake the other day.
Michigan paid all that money for a fat kid.
Oh God, man. You are something else.
You are.
Bro.
And then there's pictures on this has taken the internet a little bit by storm, and people just keep making him fatter and fatter with
Of course, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. This was
This was real.
doctored picture.
No, but there is a doctor.
That might be one of the doctor was knowing Lloyd. You never know.
LSU done dodged a bullet.
All right, curtain call. Let's follow that up with something good.
He's so dumb.
You're so dumb.
Curtain call 2. I have it right here. It's my curtain call.
2.
Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Curtain call to Trey Morgan,
Oh.
making his AAA debut today. He was on IR.
Oh, he got called up?
He was on IR, got called up, and you know where he will be. You played for this team.
Durham.
Durham.
Great place. Great place to be.
So
Durham. That's a great ballpark.
he gets his first AAA debut today.
First taste of AAA.
I was going to ask, I thought about asking Jay.
90th overall prospect in baseball. That's pretty good. Top
Yeah,
100. Top 100's obviously where you want to be.
He's been getting a lot of run lately. There were a lot of good things that were said about him.
Yeah.
So
Good for him.
Good.
All right, Jay, you got one?
Yes. Curtain call goes to, I don't know where he said this at, but this is kind of just bringing a little bit more notice to the greatness of him. Quote from Aaron Donald. I never touched 300 in 2018. That was my lightest year. I played that whole season around 250, 260. I was 258 in the Super Bowl that year.
And that's a defensive tackle.
Playing defensive tackle.
Yeah, that's linebacker weight. That's middle linebacker weight, and that's playing defensive tackle. Dominating. Dominating.
That's impressive, man.
Low man wins.
I
I
get the feeling that he's not embellishing this
No.
information.
No.
That's impressive.
You go look at his pictures, and when you ain't 300 pounds, that's 6 feet, and you look like that. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I'm about to say, that's so hard. How would that even be possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
This is him retired.
You have
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about to say,
I thought you were just gonna make us imagine it.
What you talking about? This us.
Oh yeah, he's definitely cut some weight, even more so.
Fucking A.
He's shredded, dude.
You think, I guess some people just like working out.
Yeah, I love it.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously his genetics helps.
Yeah.
You know.
Mine don't.
Why not?
Because if you're not athletic, it sucks to work out, and I'm not that athletic. It's hard.
All right, my curtain call is to a former. I've played against this guy a lot. Come up through the minor leagues. Played against him in the big leagues. Played with him a little bit in the White Sox organization. Went through cancer, beat cancer. One of the all-time good guys of baseball, Liam Hendricks. He is rehabbing for the Red Sox, and he's in Double-A. And as a rehabber, a big leaguer that's rehabbing in the minor leagues, what you do and what's customary is you're supposed to buy spread for the home team. Some big leaguers will go and buy spread for both the home and visiting team. And Liam Hendricks took that up a notch. He got a food truck to feed the home team, the visiting team, and all the staff of the stadium for the yard goats. And pretty awesome deal when that happens. And because, look, you're going there as a big leaguer and you're taking innings away from a pitcher, or you're taking at-bats away from somebody that's supposed to be in the lineup. And it's all revolving around your rehab. And so going in there and kind of rewarding the guys and giving them a meal that they don't normally get, that's pretty awesome. And that's pretty cool. So shout out to him.
Yep, that's pretty cool. It's always good, man. Those kids are kind of spoiled these days because what used to be the thing is like, Mikey, when you're coming up at that point, like if you got Outback or Chili's or you like, we eating like kings tonight, that's a normal thing for them nowadays. But that right there, that's something that's pretty cool. And it's because it's not only for the home team, it's for the away team as well. All the staff in the stadium. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That's dope.
It was
I
awesome.
respect that. Okay,
that's all we got for you.
Guys, I'm not naming anyone either, but I've seen guys come in, rehab, take the at-bats, or take the innings
and not
away,
get the spread?
Not get the spread.
Oh, that's Bush. That's Bush.
I'm not going to name names.
That's Bush. That's Bush. Yeah, that's not good.
Bush.
And
got dressed and left before the end of the game and didn't even say bye to anybody.
Even more Bush. That ain't good. No bueno there.
Okay.
All right. That's all we got for you on this beautiful Wednesday night. Enjoy the Easter weekend and the festivities of Easter. Enjoy the game tomorrow. The series obviously starts tomorrow. It's on ESPNU tomorrow, and I believe it's on SEC Network on Saturday.
AJ Przenski.
No,
he would have gotten spread. He would have gotten
spread. Him. Somebody that played in the league for a long time, but it wasn't him.
But enjoy the weekend series. Enjoy hopefully an LSU dub, and we'll be back live in studio on Friday to recap the Thursday night game, preview the Friday night game, preview the rest of the weekend.
You going?
I don't know if I'm going on Thursday yet. I think I'm gonna go on Saturday for sure. Still haven't decided on. Probably not gonna go on Friday, but maybe Thursday and Saturday.
My uncle is coming in town.
Huh?
My uncle is coming.
Oh,
in town
nice.
to go.
So you're going?
I am.
Nice. Maybe I'll see you there.
Maybe so.
And have a drink before.
Maybe so.
All right. Enjoy your night. See you on Friday. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Can't watch us? Be like, let's see what's when you get your pods. Boom. There we go. Always when Jay's in. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're back on Friday. Enjoy your night. Peace.
Deuces.